Hi, my name's Rosa. It's good to see you again. So, I want to talk a little bit today about how this last week went and how things are going and how I did with my sparks of inspiration. So, the sparks that I talked about last week that I was going to add, um, I didn't know if I would get to them, and I didn't. I didn't work towards a Mediterranean diet. I didn't work towards intentionally adding beans to my diet. I didn't work towards cleaning out my closet for things that no longer serve me. But that's okay. I had a really busy week and I knew that I likely wasn't going to get into those. But I will for sure get to them. Um, and I'm not really sad about where I'm at with that. I did want to introduce you to my new feet pillows. These are the New Balance 496s. Um, I have to eat my words a little bit because last week I talked about how I was not looking forward to the white shoes, and I got them and I don't hate them. I don't think that they're anywhere near as ugly as I thought they would be. And they're so comfortable. I have to love them. My other pair that's not white is not here yet, but that's okay. So it turns out that I was so happy with this new pair of shoes that I went to a wedding this weekend and I was gone for about 2.5 days. And this is the only pair of non-dress shoes that I brought. So that just goes to show you how my mindset changed on these shoes. So I wanted to talk a little bit how that went and how my week and weekend went. So throughout the week before the weekend, I did pretty well. I kept up with walking. I kept up with eating 4 cups of produce a day. I am trying hard at reducing stress and managing sleep well. Both of those I could probably still have some work on. Managing sleep is an interesting one for me because I've been getting to bed on time and I've been waking up a couple of times in the middle of the night and then just staying awake for a while. I don't like that and I don't know how to overcome that yet. But there is a noticeable change in this as to what I've experienced in the past. I'm waking up and I'm just thinking. My mind is busy, but my mind does not feel anxious or overwhelmed at these moments. And that I think is a real big win and a real big blessing that I am super grateful for. In the past, I've been plagued with all of the worst decisions I ever made or everything that I have on my plate in front of me for the next day. And at 3 a.m., all of those thoughts just feel really overwhelming. And it's really hard to see past them in the middle of the night. And they have a whole new perspective in the light of day. And I haven't ever known how to overcome that in the past. But working on mindset with the Guided Mindset Mastery course has brought a whole new perspective, and keeping in mind that there's a solution to every problem and it's just a problem to be solved has helped me move forward a lot on that and the way that I view things. So super appreciative of that. So this weekend I prepared and I think I did pretty well. So I left Friday morning to go to the wedding. Before I left, I prepped breakfast food. I sliced bread, whole wheat, homemade bread that I'd made. I put it in baggies to bring with me. I packed peanut butter. I did not have fruit. I just was out of it. So my plan was to get it on my trip, and I did. And so I had a healthy meal for breakfast every day. I ate my peanut butter sandwich on whole wheat bread, and I ate fruit. And so that's exactly what I try to eat every day of the week. It makes me feel good. And so I had no change while I was traveling. As I've noted from previous video, breakfast while I'm traveling has been a struggle. I've had trouble finding breakfast that made me feel good and didn't make me feel like I lost the battle, I guess. I find it really hard to find healthy breakfast food that tastes good while traveling. So bringing my own was a big win. Another thing that I did before I left is I went on a walk. I didn't know what my day had in front of me on Friday, so I just knocked out 2 miles first thing. I don't usually walk in the morning. I don't have time most mornings, and on weekends when I might have time, I prefer to focus on sleep, which is another challenge that I usually have. I also don't like walking during the daylight usually. I feel like the bright sun gives me a headache, makes me hot, And so it's just not something I usually do. But I just knocked it out so I would know that I had that taken care of. So that day, once we got going, I ate an In-N-Out burger for lunch. I did not overeat. I was perfectly happy with myself for eating what I ate. I ate something that I really love, and I didn't eat more than I needed, and I just felt perfectly satisfied. I also, for dinner, I ate Chipotle, and I ate a burrito bowl, and I ate brown rice with beans and every vegetable that I could get. And I wasn't super hungry, so I just ate what I wanted. I didn't overeat, and I feel really happy with myself for when I recognized that I needed to stop and that I did stop. I also bought some crumble cookies to share with the household, and I cut them into small pieces, and I ate a few of the small pieces. I probably ate about half a cookie. So I'm not disappointed with myself with how that went. So that night, I was pretty close to my 3 miles, but I wanted to get a little more in. I also needed to go grocery shopping, or needed to go shopping at Target. We don't have a Target where I live. And so I took my husband and we went shopping. And that got us about 1.25 miles just with that little trip. I have found that when it's super hot out, or that when I'm in a city or somewhere where it's hard for me to go walking, that going to a store is a really good way to get miles. And so appreciated having that option. So Friday did pretty good. Slept pretty good, went to bed at a normal time, got up at a decent hour, ate a good breakfast, went to the wedding. It was beautiful. I ate lunch. I ate exactly what I needed. I didn't eat more or less than I needed. I felt satisfied with what I ate. I tried to fill in with produce that I could find. There wasn't a lot available, but I ate some salad and I ate some fruit. I also ate 2 cupcakes and 2 cheesecake squares. I'm not disappointed in myself. I feel like I have pretty good self-control. We had some downtime between things at the wedding, and so I walked in circles around the church, and I was able to get about 1 mile there. So by the time we left that evening, I was hungry again. We went to Chick-fil-A. I got a Chick-fil-A salad. I had that for dinner. I ate a few more pieces of crumble cookie. Not disappointed in myself again. And then I had a little bit more mileage to get. And so my husband and I went on a short walk. And so in all, I think the first day of travel, we got 4 miles, and the second day, we ended around 3.5 miles. So I was pretty happy with how that went. And then the next day, got up and ate a good breakfast and left. So as far as travel experiences and trying to maintain a healthy lifestyle on travel, that's one of the best that I've had. But I feel like it's been a learning and iterative experience, and I've been able to progress and learn from what I did before, and what I maybe didn't do so well at before. So I'm really grateful for how that went. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I've gone on how this journey has gone, and where I started, and some of the sparks of inspiration that I've been working on. I went back and read my journal, and there was actually a lot that I've worked on, and there was so much that I'm not going to cover very much of it here because there was a lot more than I expected. And so I started this course in June timeframe is when I started this create my own weight working towards my own weight loss progress. And I'm taking this course along with Christy Lee as part of the Rare Faith curriculum. And we're studying the Mindset Mastery curriculum. I have taken the Mindset Mastery course before. I took it about a year ago. And the things that I learned in that course have definitely changed my life. I had no idea about some of these laws and how they work to help us if we're aware of them and if we work with them. And so one of the things that I wanted to talk about a little bit was the law of gestation, because this was a new concept to me. that if we plant an idea seed and if we're patient and we don't uproot our ideas from our doubt, that things will work towards us and work with us to really reach our goals. And I feel like that's what we're doing on this journey and what I'm doing on this journey. One of the things that we studied in class this week, if we're willing to look at our lives and change little things, we'll get there. That was one of our discussion points. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to read an excerpt from my journal from July 5th of this year. I'm clinging to the idea that Christy talked about in our last class, that the little things we do to improve our health help us even more than we know. This has been a lifeline for me these last 2 weeks. Then in the homework today, we read, if you're closer today than you were yesterday, then you're already successful. I left class 2 weeks ago pondering what I wanted to do next. These few things came to my mind. 1, hide the scale. It's not serving me right now. I have always, for many, many years, have been a faithful scale watcher. I've always thought that it served me. But I remember at this point in my life, I was just feeling like it was creating doubt and creating fear, and it wasn't serving me. And so at that moment, I just felt like I shouldn't be looking at it, and so I put it away. I didn't keep it put away. A couple weeks later, I felt like I'd overcome a lot of that, and so I pulled it out again. And now it really is a tool for data and is a tool to help me, and I don't feel like it's creating doubt and fear at this point in my life. But at the time, it's something that I felt like I needed to do, and I acted on it, and I'm grateful for it. Cut back to 1 Coke Zero per day. So when I first started this journey, I was drinking 4 a day. I knew that 4 was more than I needed. It was a habit, really. But at the beginning of this journey, I was really experiencing a lot of fatigue, and I was looking for ways to overcome that. And one of the things that I considered was adrenal fatigue. I don't know that. I don't know if that was what was contributing to my fatigue, but I knew that caffeine was a contributor to that. And I just felt like I should drink less caffeine and cut more of it out of my life. And so by the time I started this course, I had already cut back to 2 or 3 a day, but I made a conscious effort in this course, at the beginning of this course, to cut back to 1 a day. I did that within about a week, and it was doable. And I've had multiple days since then where I just don't have any, and I'm perfectly fine. I've cut back so much of it that I don't feel the impacts of not drinking caffeine now. So I'm really grateful for that change. Another one was to walk on purpose. That one actually took me a while to work on. I'll talk about that in a second. Another one was to eat 4 cups of produce per day. Another one was to walk at least 1 mile a day. What I wanted to mention on these two is these were not actually my ideas. Those two, eat 4 cups of produce a day, walk 1 mile a day. That actually came out of a conversation that I had with one of my friends a couple years ago, where she was in a health competition. And these were things that they were going to be working on, or health challenge, I guess. She actually told me a list of things that they were working on, but these two stuck in my mind, and I've remembered them ever since. And I tried these about a year and a half ago, and it was the happiest I've ever been on a diet, to just focus on 4 cups of produce a day and 1 mile a day. And I remembered that when I started this journey, and it was something that I gravitated towards, and I feel like it's something that served me really well. So when I compare to the question, am I doing better than yesterday? The answer is yes. So here it is, 3 months later, about 3.5 months later. And when I asked that question, am I doing better today than yesterday? Absolutely. And I think that I can say that about most of the steps. So some of the things that I've done, well, I also wanted to talk a little bit about using the steps of just planting the seed and watching it come forward. I wanted to talk about one of the challenges that I had a year ago. I was in a state where we had recently moved, and it was a really stressful situation. It was stressful for a lot of months. In hindsight, I was grieving our move. I was grieving our new home and the challenges we had with it. And we were in the middle of the challenges of just trying to get things fixed and having contractors show up and those kind of challenges. And I just wanted to eat healthy food, and I didn't know how I was going to get healthy food because I was not in a state where I could emotionally or physically prepare healthy food. And so I put that out there as like wanting to put that out in the universe as that's what I need, is I need to have a way to have healthy food in my diet that I wasn't cooking. And I happened to be scrolling Instagram one day, and I happened to see an advertisement for ready-made meals that are shipped to your door, fresh meals. This wasn't HelloFresh or Green Chef or any of those food services where you prepare it yourself. This was ready-made meals. And when I saw that, my thought was, this is what I've been praying for. This is what I need. And so I just gravitated towards that, and I started ordering. And we ordered a couple times, and it served us really well, and it's just what I needed at that time in my life. A couple months later, a meal prep service in town opened up, and they had meal prep bowls made of protein and carb and vegetables and a sauce, and I started ordering those. And again, those served me for several months. And I really loved that option. Eventually, that meal prep service closed down, but by then I feel like that gave me a lot of the tools for me to take that on and do that myself. And so my husband and I have been meal prepping ever since, with real similar concept to what that meal prep service did. At this point, I do feel like I have capacity to do some limited meal prep and cooking, and so I'm doing what I can. I also order a lot of salads, and just recently another meal prep service opened up in town. And so I'm just seeing how my problem that I was looking for a solution for and was open to, I have a problem and each problem is just one solution away. Me looking for that, putting that seed out, happened to bring it to me. And I've seen the various steps of that evolution, and I'm so grateful for how each of those has served me and been what I needed right at that time. So some of the other things that I've worked on in this class, adding protein, working on getting more sleep, working on getting more water. Somewhere along this way, one of the things I was working on was trying to reduce fatigue. At the beginning of this class, I was just experiencing extreme fatigue. And about 2 months into it, these things or something started really helping it. I will say that before I ever started this, I tried tackling it by going to the doctor and getting blood work and going to my cardiologist. And those things, I'm really grateful that I did that. But what I learned is that I didn't know what it was, and that I needed to keep doing other things. So somewhere along this process, the fatigue has definitely lifted. I'm not where I want to be on my level of energy yet, but it is significantly better than it was back in June. So some of the other things I learned to do was in Sparks that I have been working on, is focusing on gratitude. What I've learned is that a grateful mind helps to put my mind so that I continuously expect good things. And when I do that, it brings it to me. Other things I've learned to do is to tackle terror barriers, that my mind wants to be comfortable with where I'm at. And when I do something hard, or when I do something that's a change, even that's good for me, it's really scary and it's hard to do. But if I push past that, I can expect and I will receive the growth from that. Another thing that I've learned is that sharing my health journey and sharing my health learnings helps me a lot. Writing out my why really clearly and studying that often, that's been really helpful to do that and understand exactly why I'm working towards this and feeling what I'm going to feel when I reach my goals. I've had a couple of aha moments along the way. This one kind of goes to gratitude, but I went to Yellowstone, and this was towards the beginning of my health journey. So July timeframe, we went to Yellowstone. And what I noticed is there were people of all physical abilities there. There were people on oxygen. There were people in wheelchairs. There were people with canes. There were people walking very slowly. There were people that probably ran a marathon every month. And it was so inspiring to see everybody with the different abilities and their different challenges with their lives, just taking it on and just finding joy in the journey and getting there and experiencing that. And it made me super grateful for the things that I've experienced, and super grateful to see that, to think about where I've been in the past and where I'm going and what I've been able to overcome. That was really an eye-opening experience for me, and I really appreciate that. Some of the other things that I've learned is portion control. That's been a journey. This is so much easier now than it was, and it's been an iterative process. I'm not perfect at this. It'll probably be a long time before I'm perfect at this, but at this point, I'm recognizing when I'm hungry. I'm recognizing how much I can eat before I fill up, and I'm totally okay with putting it away before I'm done most of the time. Still working on that all of the time. But I wanted to share one more thing. When I first started walking, so that's been a little over a month that I started walking. And I've shared with you guys how much walking has just changed my life and how grateful I am for what it's done for me, how much better I feel mentally, emotionally, physically, just from starting real small and ramping up to walking a lot faster, walking a lot more, and just being in nature and being with people I love, how much I love that experience. So the second day I started walking, I posted some pictures from that day. It was really beautiful. And I was just really feeling so much love for nature and for what God has provided for me. And one of my friends posted a quote and under my post, and I just really loved it, and I thought about it a lot. This comes from justshowerthoughts.com. And it says, when people talk about traveling to the past, they worry about radically changing the present by doing something small. But barely anyone in the present really thinks about that they can radically change the future by doing something small. So I just really love that quote. And so I just wanted to end with that and wish you guys all encouragement to that the small things really do matter, and that if we're doing better today than yesterday, then we're showing improvement. So thank you, and I love you all.